What's up, everybody? Stacey Blackwood here from the Tide Talk podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at betonline.ag. If you're into sports betting, then betonline.ag is where you need to go to win money today. They have live bets, futures, and their online casino is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So visit betonline.ag on your mobile device or your tablet or your computer, just however you want to get there. Go to betonline.ag, sign up today, and on your first deposit, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus. That's betonline.ag. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, just however you listen to us. Make sure that you are subscribed or that you follow us. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you jump in the comment section below and let us know how you think this 2022 recruiting class is going to finish for the Tide. If you think they're going to finish number one, get in the comment section below, put a Y for yes or an N for no. And if you like the content, make sure you give us a huge thumbs up. That really helps us on the YouTube algorithm. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure you go leave us that 5-star written review. We really appreciate everybody that's been supporting us lately. Our content has been getting great numbers lately, so we certainly appreciate everybody that's tuning in and listening to us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. You can find us just about everywhere at Tide Talk Pod. All right, let's just dive right on into today's episode. Not going to keep everybody real long. Just want to give an update on this current 2022 recruiting class for Alabama. Right now, they're sitting with the number 2 class in the country, just right behind Penn State. But it's important to note that Penn State has about 10 more commitments so far than what Alabama does. Penn State's sitting with 24 commits, while Alabama only has 14. And, of course, that average star rating is much higher for Alabama than it is Penn State. They're on the 247 composite ranking. So Alabama has plenty of room to move up there in the rankings. I have no doubt that they're going to make strides to compete for that number 1 spot in the country when it's all said and done. All right, let's just look at a couple of the best players so far that have committed in this class, and it's a loaded class already. Super excited about a lot of these guys. Just want to touch on a couple of them real quick. Jeremiah Alexander, of course, the 5-star edge defender from here in Alabama. Great athlete. He already looks the part of a college edge defender, standing about 6'2", around 250. He's made in the mold of a Ryan Anderson type. And if he can be as good as what Ryan Anderson was, he'll be a great player for Alabama. Of course, Anderson was a part of that 2016 defense that was spectacular and getting after the passer. And he has even made a name for himself in the NFL, doing a really good job there. So if we can get a Ryan Anderson type performance out of Jeremiah Alexander and his time at Alabama, he will be a great addition to this 2022 class. Also, I want to talk a little bit about Ty Simpson, the 5-star quarterback that we have committed from Tennessee. A really good prospect. I like him a lot. He's not just an overly big guy, standing about 6'2", maybe 185, 190, but has room to grow in that body. Probably will finish his career at Alabama around 6'3", 210 pounds. So just plenty of size there. But he's a guy who can make all the throws on the field whatsoever. I don't care if it's a 20-yard out, a go route, a post corner. He can throw it to the back out of the backfield. Just he can make every throw on the field that you need a quarterback to make. And then on top of that, he's very athletic. He's kind of underrated on that side of his game. I think he's a really athletic quarterback who can extend plays, not only with his legs, but just kind of get outside the pocket and wait for guys to come up and down the field and hit those guys. So he's going to be a quarterback who he's a head coach's son. I believe his dad he's the head coach of a small school there in Tennessee at the college level. So he's been around the game. He's around the game all the time. So he's a smart kid, and he's a guy that obviously Bryce Young is just now heading into his first year as a starter. He's only a sophomore, so he's got at least 2 years left at Alabama. So Ty Simpson is not going to be asked to come in and start right away. Of course, Alabama still has Paul Tyson and Jalen Milroe on campus as well. Tyson is coming along greatly, and Milroe is a guy who's a future star. So It may be a couple years before you actually see Ty Simpson on the field at Alabama, but from all indication, he is just fine with that. He kind of wants to take the Mac Jones route. And if he does that, he will be a phenomenal player for Alabama. Really excited about Ty Simpson and the prospects that he brings to Tuscaloosa. And next, I want to talk about Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy's a 5-star linebacker from Virginia. He recently committed about a week ago to Alabama. Really good linebacker. I like this kid a lot. One of my favorite players of the entire class. When you turn on his tape, the first thing that you just realize is that he is the best athlete on the field, regardless of position. And Virginia has some really good athletes. So he's a guy that you watch. He reminds me a lot of what Rashaan Evans was, just a superior athlete there at linebacker, can play sideline to sideline, can come up and make a big hit, and just a guy that you can plug in and play and just kind of tell him to go after the football and he's going to make plays for you. So Sean Murphy is a really talented guy there at inside linebacker, and super excited to have him a part of this 2022 class. We could go on about this class. Like I said, there's 14 total commitments, and those are kind of the three guys that I'm most excited about. But you also look at some of the lower ranked guys in the class right now. A guy like Kobe Prentice from Calera, Alabama, a speedster at wide receiver. He's a legit 4.4 guy. I believe he ran a 4.38 at Alabama's camp this summer. That's when Alabama decided, we need to try to recruit this kid. Got him to flip his commitment from Maryland to Alabama just a couple weeks ago. So really excited to watch Kobe Prentice rise in the rankings. And then Dane Shore, guy that committed just a couple of days ago, offensive lineman from Georgia. He is a guy that maybe is not as highly recruited as what he probably would be, but he missed his junior season due to a shoulder injury. So I expect him to also climb in the rankings here in his senior year. And then another guy that I'm really excited about that committed about a month or so ago is Amari Nablack. He's an athlete, kind of a tight end wide receiver mix. Kind of in the mold of what a Kyle Pitts is. I'm not saying he's going to be Kyle Pitts, but he is a great athlete. And if you go and watch some of his highlights, you see a guy that can attack the ball. He's got great length, great size, can kind of box out the smaller defenders and go and make the catch over his defenders. And, he just makes all the contested catches, much like Kyle Pitts did for Florida this last year. And that's one of the reasons that he was, one of the top picks in the NFL draft. So I'm really excited about those three guys as well. On the composite rankings, they're all three stars, but I believe that they'll all be 4 stars by the time this cycle has ended. Now, a couple guys that haven't committed yet that maybe could commit, either relatively soon or before this class ends that I'm kind of keeping my eye on. One is Jake Pope, a safety from Buford, Georgia. He's really just a great all-around athlete, but Alabama is recruiting him as a safety. I really like this kid. He's like I said, he's a great athlete, and he's another guy that's kind of underrated, and I think will rise in the rankings, the further along his recruitment goes. And probably my favorite guy in the entire 22 class is Berrien Brown, an athlete from Nashville, Tennessee. I believe Alabama's recruiting him as a wide receiver, but he could play defensive back as well. And I'm going to say something here, and don't don't have a heart attack or anything, but he has a chance to be a Devontae Smith type player. He's built a lot like Devontae, 6'1", 170 pounds soaking wet, long frame. Devontae's about 6 foot or 6'1", but has a 6'5" wingspan. Berrien Brown is kind of in that same mold. Great athlete. And just anytime he touches the ball, great things happen. So he's a lot of fun to watch on tape. If you haven't watched him yet, you need to look up Berrien Brown on Huddle or YouTube, however you want to look that up. He's a great player with a great future ahead for him. It's also need to note that yesterday, a prospect in the 2022 class listed Alabama in his top 7, Anthony Lucas, defensive lineman from Scottsdale, Arizona. He's a really good pass rusher from his interior defensive line position. I'm not sure, what Alabama's chances are at landing him. I think they got a decent shot. It's a long game though. And of course, signing day, the first signing day is not till December. And then the next one's not till February. So a long way to go, but making his top 7 is big. Like I said, he's a really good athlete, standing about 6'5", 280 with plenty of room to grow, and a guy that can get after the passer from his interior defensive line position. All right, guys. Hey, that's going to wrap this bonus episode up of the Tide Talk podcast. Like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once again, let us know in the comment section if you think this 2022 class is going to be finish number one overall in the country. Y for yes, N for no. Let us know what you think. Hit that subscribe button on Apple. Leave us that 5-star written review. Follow us on Spotify. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Tide Talk Pod. You can follow us on TikTok at Tide Talk Pod, Facebook Tide Talk Pod, and make sure you join our all-new Facebook group as well. All right, guys, we're just a couple days away from the start of fall camp, so we're really excited about that, and we're going to be here to keep you up to date on all the latest from the Crimson Tide. Until next time, roll Tide.